Hello everyone, Cindy Saddleman here from Game Show Gumbo, and it is time for part 4 of the Price is Right pricing game rankings. Now, this time around we're in 1976, and we're going to go all the way to about the end of 1978. So, if you're a Price is Right fan and I mentioned the year 1978, you know a few of the games that we're gonna run upon, and yeah, they aren't pretty. I ain't gonna lie about that. But there are some good games as I adjust myself, sitting down, to stuff that, are really good games that I still play to this day. So let's not waste any time, because we have, games 31 to 40 now. And game 31 that got introduced is Switcheroo. It got introduced at near the beginning of the 76-77 season, and this game's look hasn't changed yet, although it probably could use an update. Honestly, I enjoy the idea of this game a lot. You have 5 numbers, and those are the first digits of the 4 small items and the third digit of the price of the car, and you got to figure out where they are, and you have 30 seconds to place them. Now, after the first try, if you have any number but 5, you can make changes. The old switcheroo, as they say. And then the actual price is revealed via the buttons down there. They have a check mark where you can which ones you've gotten right. And it is very great when somebody has gotten all 5 right. Or if somebody is ballsy enough to only have 1 right, say, no, I'm going to stick. And it winds up being the price of the car. They look like a genius. Most of the times they look like a fool because they didn't get the car. But I really enjoy this game. I like the pace to it, and I just like the inventive nature of the game. And we're going to go on to a game that is pretty much synonymous with prices right nowadays. Hole in One or Two debuted May 9th, 1977. Way still in the rotation nowadays. And it was a vastly different game than any other pricing game at the time. It was a physical challenge. Having to putt a ball, about 12 feet from the farthest line to about 2 feet from the closest line. If that. And the way that you got closer is another inventive way that they did pricing games, from lowest to highest. Instead of when you had the original high-low, you have to pick the 3 highest items, or you pick 1 item at a time, the original playings, and you have to decide whether it goes on the high side or the low side. And that little $500 bonus for getting all 6 of them right, or placed right, is fantastic. Later on, I think 10 years after the debut of Hole in One or Two, they changed it to Hole in One or Two, and you have the updated look that you see nowadays. It's a look that absolutely does not need to be changed at all. Although I would like to see that prize money upped if you get all 6 right, from 500 to 1,000. But that's just me. Either way, very fun game. I really enjoy it. It's a top tier game. And another one of my favorites, personally, is Squeeze Play. This debuted, I think, the day after. Yeah, the day after Hole in One debuted. And it's quite simple. First number's right, last number's right. One of those 3 numbers doesn't belong, and the price will squeeze together, and you will see if you won or not. It's a quick play game, but it's a lot of fun. The presentation and the execution puts it above other quick play games. Like, for example, Double Prices is kind of there. But this adds a little bit of a gimmick to it, which I really enjoy. And the design for Squeeze Play doesn't need to be changed at all. I do like the gold highlights that they have added to the game. And it's just a fantastic game. Okay. I talked highly about the first 3 games that debuted during this time period. now we got Secret X. This debuted the day after, September 14th, 1977. Oh, if that day is an indication to a lot of Price is Right fans, that's because September 14th, 1977 is the day of the Yolanda Bowsley incident. You know, she came on down and out they came. You know, that's what Bob Barker usually says. And I have to be honest, that moment kind of overshadowed the entire show. And in the realm of Secret X, I'm kind of glad it did. I am not a fan of Secret X whatsoever. The gimmick is tic-tac-toe. The center box has one Secret X, and you are given one X and the opportunity to win two more, which gives you 3 boxes to cover in the hopes to find the actual Secret X. Now, my thing with Secret X is the same thing I have with 5 price tags, but worse. Because you can play the pressing part perfectly and still lose, which is a big no-no in regards to a good pricing game. Because how many times have we seen a contestant get both the pricing items right, have 3 X's, and still can't win because of bad luck? So, yeah. To me, Secret X, sorry, I, showed my hand a little bit, but Secret X is a bad pricing game that has lasted quite a long time. You know, the game could be improved. Add a third item to ensure that luck doesn't hamper the game. Hamper the game to the point where you can play it perfectly and lose. But at that point, you can play the game perfectly, win, and then offer a $1,000 bonus. Where is the Secret X? It's the top, middle, or bottom. You get it right, you get a $1,000 bonus. That's how I'd fix the game. But that's just me, and why I'm not in any game show production whatsoever. But you don't have to be in game show production to know that this next game sucks. Professor Price. What a disaster this game was. Debuted November 14th, retired a week later after 2 playings. 2. That is the shortest run of any pricing game. I think Telephone Game is second at 3, but we'll leave it alone. We'll talk about that. That's next time out when we have part 5. Professor Price tries to meld pricing a car and general knowledge. The way it works is that Bob would ask a number-based question, like a simple question, like, how many quarts are in a gallon? The answer would be 4. You get it right, the professor would go, and if you get it wrong, the professor goes like this. And you have to get 3 right before you get 3 wrong. And the professor does kind of look like a weird interdimensional Johnny Olsen who became a masked professor instead of a masterful game show announcer. Then the second item is if it's a number in the card, true or false. Yeah, this ain't great. This really ain't great. Especially that weird puppet mechanicaloid thing that would normally be seen at Chuck E. Cheese. However, one little thing. This got in the Price is Right Decades game. Not other bad but better games like Finish Line, which we'll talk about next. Telephone Game, which lasted 3 games but was largely forgettable. But yeah, this did not work whatsoever and is kind of widely regarded as one of the worst, if not the worst, pricing game of all time. So you know where it's going at the rankings, but will it stay at the bottom? We'll find out. Next up is Finish Line. which is now we're in 1978. It debuted February 21st. It ended about 6 months later. Now, here's my big complaint about Finish Line. You know the game Give or Keep? It's exactly the same game as Give or Keep, except it uses a horse racing gimmick and the game goes a lot slower. Now, yeah, I hate when pricing games do this. You take another pricing game and you make it worse. Finish Line is nothing more than a worse Give or Keep. I secretly like Give or Keep. I really do. I like the gimmick. But adding a gimmick on top of a gimmick game is bad. And a horse racing gimmick at that, which Bob did not like at the time, and probably under his preference saying, can we get rid of this game and just bring back Give or Keep already? Was a big thing. And it didn't mean for it to last the 6 months that it did. Well, 9 months that 7 months that it did. You get it. This game sucks. Now we have a game that doesn't suck, and that's Take Two. I honestly like Take Two. The gimmick is that you have 4 items, kind of like set up race game style, and you got to figure out what 2 prices add up to the number up top. And you're given 2 shots at it. And it is a clever game. I honestly like Take Two a lot. And I also like the first setup it had with the pastel pink and, teal blue setup that you see in the picture right there. The current setup's nice too, but, there's just something about that pastel pink and blue, that'd make for a great game show set, based with words and... Hey, can we get Scrabble revived again already, please? Can't do that? Too many rights? Oh well. Anyways, still in the rotation, debuted a couple of months after Finish Line did. I really enjoyed Take Two. Just the setup and the pageantry of it all, I guess. Well, back to the crap. The shower game. Only lasted about 4 or 5 months. And it is a more assy version of 5 price tags. Because you're shown 6 stalls with prices in them. One of them has the price of the car. 2 shower $100 on you in $1 bills. And 3 of them are just, random, confetti and, foam balls and stuff like that. I don't get that at all. And oddly enough, this lasted a little while, but it had a big following in France, because the French version of The Price is Right loved this game, apparently. This was a quickie car game, and it did not work. Because then everybody realized, if we're going to do a quickie car game, we got double prices we could use for a quickie car game. We got squeeze play we could use as a quickie car game. We're going to have more quickie car games coming up, but shower game's gimmick was bad. And it was a little bit offensive. Because if you remember when I did the 3 failed pricing games in 78 video, apparently Holocaust survivors saw this game and complained loudly to CBS. The main reason being is because the stalls that you are used for the shower game are the same type of stalls that were used during Nazi concentration camps in the 1940s. And when they were forced to pull on the handle, I think it was acid that poured down on them and burned them, killed them, whatever. What am I saying whatever for? It was despicable, and this game is bad, and it sucks. Alright, enough sadness. Happy times! Now, this next game on the rankings is a trendsetter in pricing games because it was the first ever pricing game to have 2 cars played. Its optional was a very interesting and a very good game. Now, the premise of this game is you had 2 cars. One was worth more than the other. One was a baseball car, the other one had some options attached to it. So you're giving the separation, which we'll say is about $1,000 or so dollars. More often than not, it was around $1,000. And you're given a certain number of options to pick in order to get within $100 of the enhanced car's price. Now, if you did that, you won both cars. Now, I don't know how the options were done with both cars. Either you got 2 base model cars, or you got one car with the secret options that you're trying to guess, and the other one had the actual options that you actually put onto the car. I honestly don't know how that was done. That's something I'll have to look up, but I'll talk about it for part 5. But the setup was fun. I love the game. I honestly love it's optional. I just wish it lasted longer than May 9th, 19. Do I have to do it? Alright. 83! Yes! Clark and his planes. You're a legend. And now we get to the last pricing game we're going to talk about this time around. And it is another trend-setting pricing game, because it was the first ever pricing game to offer a cash prize. And that is Punch-a-Bunch, or the Punchboard. It debuted September 27th, 1978, and it's still alive and well today, more so than it was back then. Now, the first time, it had a different rule set. You see the letters on the Punchboard, Punchboard? Those housed numbers. And what was on the Punchboard was words, whether it be ones, tens, hundreds, or thousands. So the goal was to find the 10 and then hit one of the 1,000 slips, and that would get you $10,000. It didn't play that well because that was a bit too confusing. So they streamlined it. You know, some had 50, some had 100, some had 250, some had 500, 1,000, 5,000, and 10,000. And then they added second chance options, which helped out the game immensely because sometimes you would just wind up with a lot of low items, like you get 50s and 100s, and that's where most of the second chances would wind up. And the way to earn punches is the same way that they had the bonus game. You're shown a prize, and then the price, which is wrong, you have to determine if it's higher or lower. And that's how you earn the punches, then you punch the punch board, and then yada, yada, yada. And then you're given, once you have a item, once you have money, you have to decide whether to keep it and stop the game, or give it up and go for more. And a legend was born on September 27th, 1978. One of the best pricing games of all time in Punch-a-Bunch. And with that said, it's time to go to the rankings. And there is no doubt about it. Professor Price is at the bottom at number 40. Double digits got overtaken as worst at number 39. Bullseye 72 gets bumped up one because of Shower Game and its awfulness. Mystery Price still too confusing at 36. I actually was torn between the idea of switching Mystery Price and Secret X. But the Secret X, I think, is more streamlined, although bad in other ways. That it's number 35. 5 price tags, 34. Finish line, the reason it's up there that high is because of my addiction to Giver Keeps format. 32 is double prices. 31 is Giver Keep. Then we go to level number 30. One right price. Poker Game, Grocery Game. Squeeze Play squeezes in at 27. Underneath Hurdles. 25 we have Take Two. Then we have the newer version of Bullseye. Save Crackers, 3 Strikes, and Danger Price at 21. 20 you have Switcheroo. High Low, Lucky 7, Most Expensive, 16. Shell Game at 16. 15 is where I put it's optional. Then you have range game, bonus game, card game, and 10 chances. And then your new top 10, race game, any number, hole in one or two, dice game, money game, 5 price tag, punch budget 5. And then the top 4 didn't change for me whatsoever, and that was Temptation, Clock Game, Cliffhangers, and Golden Road. Well, on our next video, games 41 to 50. Man, 50 pricing games so far. And that means we're heading into the 80s. That means the set changes up a bit. Bob contemplates whether or not to keep on dyeing his hair. And it just becomes more comfort food in the 80s because it was acceptable in the 80s, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that's going to do it for me for this edition of Ranking the Pricing Games. I'd like to thank everybody for watching. If you liked what you see, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Give me your rankings for the 10 pricing games we talked about in this video and in the comments down below. And if you want videos a day before they go public on YouTube, become a Patreon backer at patreon.com/gameshowgumbo. $1 per month gets you early access to all the videos, and doing that would help us out immensely. Well, that's gonna do it for me. Shower game finish line, Professor Price, all in one show. I think I'm gonna drink a talk to you later. Bye, everyone.